Hey everyone, how you doing out there? It is Joe and Darren over at Urban Hillsides Real Estate with another edition of Real Estate Reality. Darren, how you doing out there, man?
Doing good, man. I'm excited about spring and the
Yeah.
market and where it's all going.
Well, and that's what we're going to talk about. The spring market is here, and we wanted to give you guys some framing, at least, for what's going on out there. So, Darren, I had dinner with a client last night, and he gave me some of his observations so far. They've been going to a lot of open houses. They're just kind of getting started. And for him, at least in the area that he's looking in some of the other areas, he saw price reductions. I said, oh, wow. Well, yeah, that depends. It might be because it's been on the market a long time and the sellers are getting realistic about things. But I said at the same time, though, man, I hate telling you this, but we're also getting uh, multiple offers, 45 offers on one house
Yeah.
recently that we were competing for, 30 offers, I think a week or two before that. Um, what do you say to all that? How should a buyer think about what's going on? And in turn, how does a seller think about what's going on with spring coming? A typical, buyer season, a big season for buying homes.
Well, I do think activity is picking up.
Okay.
We're seeing more buyers come out and start to seriously consider taking steps forward, and some are taking steps forward.
What do
Um,
you think? And just to hold on that, so do you think that's what people getting used to the interest rate? It is what it is.
I do think that took time, and it was expected to take time. We've been in
Right.
a maybe a 9 month cycle of up,
Mm,
came down a little bit, went back up, it's gone back down a
right.
little bit right now. Like we've been
Right.
in a window for probably about 6 months of rates there was an uptick. The first 3 months of that cycle was a
Hmm.
strong move up
Got it.
and a pause for many people. But I think
Mm,
people are just realizing they want to own a house. There are a lot of younger people in their prime buying years, and so they're taking a step forward right now. We're starting to see it with more activity.
got it. And then inventory.
Well, so what's happened? I was recently doing some appraisal evaluations, and yeah, I felt the appraiser was a little out of touch. And
Hmm.
the way I had to characterize it is exactly what I want to say about the inventory and how it's moving, because it
Mm,
matters. We all want to see what
sure.
we want to see in each situation, and usually that's
Right.
our perception is what benefits us,
Sure.
ideally.
Right.
But in housing, what's happened in the last 9 months is properties that have desirable components are still selling with multiple offers. That has not stopped at all.
Right.
And
Right.
by and by that, it could be a variety of things. It could be the best neighborhood. It could be a good price, which means it's going to move fast. It could be nice features of the property. Whatever the case may
Hmm.
be, supply has been on the low side. Demand has always superseded or been higher than supply. So
Right.
something with desirable features is moving. Um, Now, those with lesser desirable features have not. So that's where the market and people are seeing price reductions
Mm,
um, and on the market for longer periods of time. That's where that's coming from. It's just a
right.
lesser desirable component in the property.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Now, it's the reverse of what I just said. Could be a lesser desirable neighborhood, a lesser
Right.
desirable floor plan, a
Yeah.
fixer. But as soon as a fixer gets into a certain price range, people are lining up for that too. Um, Sadly, as a
Well,
buyer,
yeah.
you're always a bit at the mercy of the seller. They own the property, they can do what they want with it. Right?
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
nice if you can try to convince them to see it your way, but it's hard to do.
Right. Right. Yeah. When they've got 44 other options. Yeah. It's tough.
Yes, right. So
So, we talked about buyers getting used to this market and getting used to the interest rates. Do you think sellers are getting a little bit more realistic? Maybe they've adjusted their perceptions a bit about the market and their own homes. I know it depends, but
I do, and yes, it does depend. It's not across the board, but
right.
there are enough of them that have made it a shift. Now, the benefit to a seller, if you have a good agent, is that if you adjust down and the market says I'm willing to pay more,
Mm,
then if properly negotiated, you will get more. for that property
Right.
and the maximum price in that moment of
Right.
time. But yes, sellers have adjusted down, and I think with some advice from agents, and some have learned the hard way by
Right.
just having their property not move. Depending on your situation, the process of selling can be daunting or overwhelming. But for some people, it's a little bit of a, yeah, I'm okay if my property's on the market for 6 months. I always worry about
Yeah.
clients that say that.
Right. Yeah. They'll wait, or they can
Yeah,
afford to wait.
because the window, and this is super important for both buyers and sellers to know, uh, window of opportunity to get the highest price is the first couple weeks, period.
Still.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as a
Yeah.
buyer, if you see a new listing, it's like, well, there aren't discounts in those first few weeks. They just
Hmm.
don't exist unless you
Right.
get into escrow and find things through inspection, then maybe. But as a seller, that's best foot forward kind of energy, because that's your
Hmm.
best time. And saying that I'll wait 6 months, well, the only reason it's not going to sell in that window, it's not going to get better with more time unless the
Yeah.
overall market improves.
Yeah. Shifts in some
Yeah.
way.
If
That is.
rates
Yeah.
go down dramatically, well, then you're right.
Yeah.
Waiting may have paid off. Um,
Yeah.
so always monitoring the elements that affect the market on both the buyer and seller side is important.
All right. Well, look, like we said, it is spring, and we are positive about helping you. But that's the reality. If you want to talk more about it, certainly connect with us, and we'll discuss your particular situation, see how it might work. All right. Darren, we'll talk to you later. Have a great one. Guys, have a good week. Take care.
Bye.